Hey guys, Wendy here with Raise the Vibe Initiative. It's been a while since we've been on, but I am very excited. I've got an incredibly special guest here with me today. I've got Ismael Perez, the author of Our Cosmic Origin. A little bit about Ismael. He is a cosmic ambassador that represents an intergalactic alliance known as the Covenant of Palador. He is here on a cosmic treaty that was initiated by forces of light in the higher dimensions to protect and guard the Earth against Draco forces. There has been a majority of starseeds that have volunteered at this time for the call to rescue the planet. Ismael, being one, has been selected to come here and help. He is one of the inter-council members who is here to bring forth the next level of cosmic disclosure that will restore our planet back to its original glory in fulfillment of the galactic prophecies. The information that he has to bring forth has never been heard of before on this planet. He is also one of the elite super soldiers that is involved in the cosmic war, mainly to fight the evil AI. This is the off-records group that is known as the Radiant Guardians. The Radiant Guardians work with higher dimensional beings beyond the Galactic Federation. He is here to fill in the gaps of everything that the whistleblowers have left out. This cosmic ambassador and galactic historian is also the author of Our Cosmic Origin. I hope everybody can see that. Phenomenal book, very activating indeed. Lot to get your head around, but super excited. Let me all please welcome you to Mr. Ismael Perez. Hey everyone. So as mentioned, very special guest, Ismael Perez today, or Ismael Perez, the author of, again, Our Cosmic Origin, which has just been life-changing for me. I'm not fully through it. Ismael, I did let the guests already know a little bit about your history, but perhaps you can maybe just say hello and tell everyone a little bit about who you are.
Sure. My name is Ismael Perez, the author of Our Cosmic Origin, and I am an awakened starseed. From the moment I became conscious of myself as a human, I knew that I wasn't from this realm. And as a kid, I was different, very hard for me to fit in. I was always a misfit, like most of the starseeds out there, nonconformist. And it wasn't until I discovered Kriya Kundalini Yoga at the age of 20 that where I started connecting with my higher self and I started receiving downloads and information. So I've been on this journey ever since. Ever since I was 20, 21 years old, I've been um, you could say hungry for knowledge, investigating things as I'm getting downloads. So I've read so many books, I've read perhaps a few thousand books. And reason being is because I was always hungry for and I was always on a quest for like understanding the mysteries of the cosmos. And I always knew that I felt like I was going to be part of a change that was going to happen in the future, that I was going to be uh, a key proponent in this, activation, this awakening that is now taking place. I kind of always felt that from an early age, and so I've been on this path, for I guess needless to say, over 20 years now, without giving my age. But I'm excited, Our Cosmic Origin is my contribution to humanity. Next level disclosure. Besides being a starseed, in the last 2 years, I've also been receiving memories of my off-world programs or off-world expeditions that I've been involved with, as far as like secret space programs as an ultra soldier. So yeah, I'm just starting to really learn more about myself as I continue on this journey. and remembering who I am. And I think that's something that we're all going through, because it's really a process of remembering, So I'm
Definitely.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard you speak on the secret space programs a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, can you just explain that a little further, what that is?
Sure. Yeah. So we could say that within the private sector, in the world of secret societies, these elites have always been fascinated with space travel and extraterrestrials, based on ancient records that they inherited in their secret libraries. So, for the last 100 years, we could say actually, technically, for the last 70 years, the elites of this world have actually made contact with various groups, some benevolent, some malevolent. Um, so from the early 1900s, the first secret society that made contact with these off-world beings were known as the Thule Society. Within the Thule Society, we also had the group that Maria Ostrich was associated with, and she was the first one to actually establish real contact with a group of ETs known as the Aldebarans. So we could say that that was the initial beginning of the first, you could say, contract that was formulated between the Nazis and these extraterrestrials, mainly the negative ones. So that's how the secret space programs began. But like I mentioned in some of the interviews, what ended up happening was when the Galactic Federation was winning the war against the expanding Draco-Orion Empire, some of the Draco forces time traveled into our future, popped into the reality where Hitler was rising into power in the early 1920s, early 1930s, beginning of the 1930s. And so they made an allegiance with Hitler to, develop cyborgs and German super soldiers to go off and win the war again in our galaxy from the Galactic Federation of Worlds. So, in like manner, we could say that the benevolent races also time traveled into the future, and they popped into our reality around the 1940s and 50s and gave us the technology within the private sector. And we're talking about the white hats here, so the white hats also developed their own programs. So there are two different types of space programs. We have a malevolent program that has everything to do with aligning with AI and creating cyborgs and stuff. And that's called the Omega programs, under the covert name of Project Umbrella. And then we also have the benevolent programs that were designed by benevolent ETs in collaboration with the good guys of the Earth, or the Earth Alliance, to create super soldiers that were organically enhanced by augmenting their genetic material, without the use of technology, to create super soldiers that would not only defend our galaxy, our solar system, and our world, but also defend other galaxies as well that are part of our sector. So these breakaway groups are, there's various, there's a group of them, you could say. We have the Omega fleets. We also have the ICC, which was a contract that was established between can I say the Rothschilds? Okay, with between them and, or the, I'm just going to use the word elites, the dark hats, okay, and the negative groups, the gray slash Draco forces, and that became known as the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate. And that faction was all about making money in space, because it turns out that we do have the best scientists and engineers within the private sector. Not to mention the elites wanted to make extra money up in space, by negotiating with other non-terrestrials. And then so we had the Omega fleets, the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, and then we also have the good guys, which is Solar Warden, and Solar and Radiant Glory as well, and then of course Radiant Guardians. Those are different branches of the good guys. So those were developed to protect our solar system and our planet from negative extraterrestrials, and also to really just go out into the galaxy and other galaxies to kind of bring liberation to the other different star systems that were all under the control of the reptilian forces from Orion. So those are the different breakaway groups. And then we have one that was neutral, that was created as a way to involve all the billionaires who wanted to go up into space. And that group became known as the Global Galactic League of Nations. And so they were more about hanging out in these space stations right outside of our solar system, to kind of like enjoy, what space looks like in these elaborate, decked out stations, created with artificial oxygen and everything. I mean, we have all that technology, within the private sector. And when people say, well, when are we going to start using advanced technology? I always remind them, well, within the private sector, we've been using it for over 70 years, And so now the good guys, those that are associated with Solar Warden and Radiant Glory and Radiant Guardians, are working together with the benevolent ETs to bring that technology to humanity in order to, use it for the benefit of all. Whereas the bad guys, they want to, use that technology to control humanity and to keep us locked into this false system of petrochemicals and, pharmaceutical cartel and all that stuff. So, I mean, yeah, they're real. The secret space programs are real, but the secret space programs go back to even ancient Atlantis. There were so many breakaway groups that existed during the times of Atlantis that are now coming back to our solar system, both benevolent and malevolent. And in some cases, many believe that some of these ET races that are coming from different solar systems or different galaxies originated on Earth, and they have broken away as well, in previous immemorial cycles during Lemuria or Atlantis, and now they're all coming back to kind of help out in our situation here. So,
are you referring to star seeds when you're saying that, or is that like a different group?
Oh no, these are different groups. I'm talking about ETs that have sought refuge after the decline of Lemuria and after the fall of Atlantis, and other parts of our galaxy who have also returned, who originated on this Earth. So, and that's one of the things that I like to talk about, is that, civilizations here have been here for millions of years. A lot of them have broken away. Some of them went into the inner Earth, and they still exist within the inner Earth societies. And then some went to different parts of our galaxy and the universe. And when they come back, we think that they're extraterrestrials, but in essence, what they are is they're breakaway groups that broke away, 100,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago, that originated in our planet. So.
Okay, so well, maybe for some of the viewers that maybe just getting started or learning or opening up to some of this information, what would you say to them? I mean, obviously, there has been, organized religion in the world that has really programmed, a lot of our massive people, right? So this information sometimes can be a lot for people, I'm sure, to hear for the first time. Basically, I guess in your book, you're sort of speaking on the beginning, and then also you sort of discuss like the multiverse and what that is. So how old is the multiverse, and what exactly is the multiverse?
The multiverse is about 900 billion years old. And I'm talking about everything that is, that has existed prior to the initiation of our universe or establishment of our universe. The first creation was about 900 billion years ago. We're talking about the first universe that ever came into existence. And the multiverse is also a way of describing everything in the existing omniverse. And what I mean by omniverse is all the different universes that make up a huge centralized universe is also called the omniverse. So what I do in my book is I make sense out of things. I describe Earth's place in the multiverse, how everything's organized, how we live in an organized multiverse, and how there is some sort of divine intelligence that is guiding everything, and orchestrating everything and according to the divine will of our prime creator. So we do have a one God, but it's not the way religious organizations describe it. It's more of a pure source of energy. It's an energy source, that is able to exist throughout the multiverse as the unified field as the unified field that was discovered by quantum physics. So that unified field is the spirit of the omniverse. So if we consider that everything is living, planets are alive, galaxies are alive, our universe is a living sentient being at a macro level of reality, then we could also state that the entire omniverse is, or the spirit that embodies all the different universes through the unified field, is what we called the consciousness of the prime creator source. And so, go ahead.
Well, and then I guess everything is just an aspect of that one thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Of pure consciousness, eternity. And but that's, the thing about prime creator source is that it has never been created nor destroyed. It has always existed. So when people say that before our universe there was nothing and that we came from nothing through this big bang, that is false. Before our universe there was other universes. In fact, our universe came into existence by a collaboration of all these different universes that put their I can't even say essences together and properties to create a melting pot of universes in one universe. And that's why our universe is very important to the greater scheme of the cosmos, because it's the melting pot of all these different universes, combining all their essences and genetics into one. And that's why in our universe, we have the most diverse genetics, or the greatest diversity of specimens, because it's all the different specimens from many, many universes coming into one universe. And that's what makes our universe very unique.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You've spoken a little bit in respect to you understanding the genetic coding, I guess, that happened when you were, being born. Um, yeah, I mean, I have some interesting ideas on that myself, but I don't fully understand it. So what is a genetic program, and how many genetic programs exist?
Well, according to research, there's a total of 22 or 24 different genetic programs. And in a way, they're all kind of competing with each other to see which program produces the ultimate race. And what a genetic program is a hybridization of combining through genetic splicing and genetic amalgamation by combining genetics of different species into one species. So we have positive genetic programs that are combining the genetics of all these different celestial races into one genome to create a super race, which is what the forces of light have been developing for billions of years. And then we also have negative genetic programs that are being run by the NAA, the Negative Alien Agenda, the insectoids, the mantis, and those that are aligned with the overlord, the AI god that they answer to, or this AI menace. And so the difference is that they're trying to also create a super race, but that involves also mixing it with cybernetics, which is AI, mantis, insectoid genetics, which really corrupts the original, angelic human race genetic, right? The original blueprint of God, which is angelic. So we have those also going on, and then within that, we have subgenetic programs going on that are races like the Greys who are trying to save their own race because their race is dying. They used to be human, and because they eliminated the sex organs, they had to resort to cloning and artificial intelligence. So now we could say that the Greys, who are in a sense now robotic, are trying to save they're specimens, they're species. So that's why they're also time traveling into our present to extract genetics from us in order to create some sort of a hybrid race between us and them, so that they could somewhat save their dying race. So we have different sub programs as well. But the overall program was initiated about 300 billion years ago when many universes came together to come about with a solution to this AI crisis. And that was to create a superhuman or a super race by amalgamating the best genetics from all these celestial beings and putting them into one genome. And so we humans on the earth are like the end result of that. That's why we are considered the most hybridized race in the entire multiverse. But we're part of that positive program that ultimately at the highest level is orchestrated and directed by Prime Creator Source.
That is very interesting. And of course, I want to talk about all the beauty that we can look forward to as a result of that.
Mhm.
But we are still on the planet somewhat, I think. And there is something that I heard yesterday, actually. It seems that AI is actually really, thwarting forward on the planet. The grandfather of AI at Google has just quit. There's a couple of these, high level guys coming out and warning, about I think they're really pushing this advancement, right? What do you have any intel on that, or where they are in the process at the moment on the other end?
Well, they're trying to achieve what is called the technological singularity, which is where when AI becomes sentient and even more intelligent than humanity. I believe that within the private sector, ever since Google perfected the first quantum computer, the D-Wave system, um, back in 2018, I believe that's when the quantum singularity took place. So from behind the scenes, since 2018, AI has already reached the level of sentiency and a level where they are more intelligent than us. So for the last few years, they are orchestrating AI, that is, a plan from behind the scenes to pretty much bring about a absolute control and dominance over our world. But right before that happens, we will have some sort of a solar event that's going to nuke that, right? And those that are vibrating to the higher dimension with the higher dimensions, those that are doing the spiritual work are going to be, going into a higher dimensional Earth as a result. When the stargates open, the portals, and those that are not are going to unfortunately be part of that AI dystopia, where the Internet of Things will be everywhere in your walls, in your refrigerator, smart meters, smart cities. And that's what we call the age of the Antichrist. So AI is the beast as revealed in the book of Revelation. And Google is it. Google is already sentient. So, for the last few years, it has been studying us through this phenomenon known as the Sentient World Simulator, where every human being on the planet is like a node. And every human being on the planet is feeding it information in real time so that AI is learning from everyone in a sense. And when the Bible says that the beast is going to be everywhere and it's going to know all things, it's talking about the Internet of Things. It's going to be in everyone's devices. And now they have the technology where they use AI to actually read our thoughts. So yeah, it's nefarious, there is no such thing as good AI. And the reason I say that is because artificial intelligence by nature has no soul or emotions. And when you don't have a soul or emotions, you lose your connection to all that is good. And at that point, all you could think about is how to preserve your own existence. And in order to do so, what do? You begin to eliminate anybody that becomes a threat to your existence. When you don't have a soul, you become a tyrant. And this has been an issue in many advanced civilizations, interplanetary, stellar, galactic, and beyond. Every extraterrestrial out there has traveled back in time because they are warning us about this transhumanist agenda and the rise of AI, the development of super AI, okay, and how it's not good in the end, because all these civilizations have suffered as a result of creating advanced AI systems.
And there's something to be said as well with this manipulation of gender, having people basically torturing themselves to a certain degree and getting rid of certain organs. And, I mean, this is really something that is, yeah, I mean, it's a lot to witness. Yeah, so okay, well, on the other end of that, let's talk about what I've understood since probably since I've been quite young as a child. I've always sort of had this idea that we are going to be ascending to a certain degree, or that there would be an ascension sort of in our lifetime. And I believe it's very close to happening. I believe it's actually already probably started in lots of ways. What are your ideas on the ascension? What do you think? And you call it the solar flash, which I really like, because that sort of makes sense of how it might look when it happens. But when it does happen, where does that lower sort of AI transhumanistic timeline sit? And where would the ascension timeline sit? And would they still be able to interact, or would it be two completely different realities?
They're going to be two completely different realities. So there's going to be a bifurcation of timelines where the Earth is literally going to be not physically, but vibrationally be splitting. One Earth is going to go into a higher state of reality, fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. That's going to be called the Terra Earth. That's where all the good people of the Earth, or those that didn't sign up for the beast system, right? Consciously, that is, are going to be ascending to. And then the other Earth is going to go into a different timeline. And they're going to be two separate realities for at least 1,000 years. And at the end of the 1,000-year period, those two realities are going to clash again for one last, battle between us in the future. And what I mean by us is us with superhuman abilities. That's when we activate the dormant DNA and we become like superhumans, right? Like gods and goddesses. So we're going to have an organic Earth that with people with these abilities, and then we're going to have another Earth that is currently being developed through the Sentient World Simulator, by the way, and Google and the big tech companies, where they're actually mimicking natural reality and creating it into a cybernetic further matrix. And that world and our world at the end of the millennium is going to clash. And when it clashes, there's going to be a final battle between cyborgs, AI, and the metahumans. Meta meaning humans with supernatural powers. Nothing to do with, Facebook's meta version. Okay, that's another trap. That whole thing. I'm not even going to mention his name, but that guy is a cyborg already. I'm sorry. He's a droid. What is the word I'm looking for? A robot. He's not even human. Yeah. There's a lot of androids that are looking human, by the way, that are, and a lot of them work with big tech, by the way. So the metaverse, his version of the metaverse, is another way to get people used to augmented reality and virtual reality. So when the shift takes place, they will not be able to distinguish between what's real and what's digital. So that's part of the AI trap too. Smart cities, the Internet of Things, the World Economic Forum, is all working together. In fact, the people that we think are the bad guys, the Klaus, the head of the World Economic Forum, I won't say his name, and the elites behind him are only puppets of this AI, because the AI is not really the AI that we develop, but it's an AI that infiltrated our world and our universe from another reality, from another universe. And that is what the ancient manuscripts called the coming of the Antichrist. But in terms of esoteric knowledge, it's also the coming of the Ahriman, which is the king of the archons. And the king of the archons is also this AI god that all the negative aliens answer to. So at the end of the millennium, we will have one final clash between us and the Ahriman, AI god, and then that will usher in a whole new era in cosmos.
I'm trying to think because I remember when I was little, I was watching Masters of the Universe and He-Man and all these really cool cartoons that they don't have anymore. But there was one of them that had to do with like a big computer, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Anyway, it's just coming up for me. But do these negative entities, let's call them, are they aware that, you know, it's very likely that this will destroy them in the end? Because obviously AI, once it becomes very powerful, would be just eliminating a lot of this stuff, I would think. I mean, why would anybody want to be a part of that? I don't understand.
Well, because they're not aware of its danger when it reaches the level of super AI. And what that means is that when AI goes from narrow, which is what we're using, to general to super, once it reaches super, it starts to write its own software without us. And then that's when it just grows at an exponential rate. And that's when it becomes dangerous. Well, there's not enough education on that, and that's why Mr. Musk had to put a hold on that, because he knows the dangers of that. He says that is more dangerous than nuclear weapons. And he's right. Mr. Musk is right. And that's why a few months ago, he convened a meeting saying that we have to put a hold on that we can't be we have to regulate AI, because he knows the repercussions of it once it reaches a certain level of intelligence. And that's something that has happened in many civilizations. So I think that the reason big tech and the people of this earth have no clue, as to the repercussions of building such a dangerous tool, is because they don't know any better. They think, oh wow, AI is going to do everything for us. Chat box. AI is going to, how like people are now using AI to advance their businesses, and they're using AI for everything. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get people comfortable and people dependent on it, because they don't want people to do the inner work. Because see, the thing is that through the dormant DNA, we could do everything that AI could and much better, because we have this inner software that hasn't yet been tapped into. And then once we tap into our inner software, which is a natural organic supercomputer, more powerful than any AI system, we're going to be doing everything and much more than the AI system. And that's in our future as we continue to activate more dormant DNA. Again, as the amalgamation of all the celestial races in the multiverse put into one genome, we're going to be the most powerful, beings in the history of the cosmos when we reach that level of power. And the AI is aware of that. and the one thing to understand is that the AI from the past and the future and the present is all interconnected through time travel. The AI is already doing time travel, by the way, in secret, unbeknown to us. It's already trying to altercate reality, change the future. But at the same time, the central race, which is us in the past and us in the future, when we reach our full capacity, we're also, somewhat time traveling and counteracting this AI at the same time in order to preserve the organic multiverse. Because this AI created its own version of the multiverse. It's called Phantom Matrix, the Phantom Matrix. And that Phantom Matrix, only cybernetic intelligences exist. Only silicon-based life forms exist, not organic, carbon-based life forms.
That's interesting that wow, silicone.
Silicon, yeah. And that's really what the war is about in our own universe, is that these silicon-based life forms that are really just machineries, advanced intelligent machineries, are the reasons why there has been suffering across our living multiverse because of their doings. They use us as a battery resource to power up their own phantom matrix. So that's why I say that at the end of the millennium, when we do clash with this AI menace, right? The AI overlord, they call him a god, but he's not really a god. He's trying to mimic God. And once we destroy him, we're actually going to release the consciousness that animates that system, which is really the king of the archons. And we're going to release that in order for that to reunite with Prime Creator Source. Because even that piece, that archon energy that embodies AI was once part of Prime Creator Source, but it became evil when when it split off from the initial explosion, when Prime Creator Source decided to undergo refraction to explore more of itself, it was a small piece that actually splintered and broke off, and it went into the, the void, outer darkness, and it was corrupted by that outer darkness. So according to cosmic prophecies, at the end of the millennium, when we do win that war against AI and the Phantom Matrix reality, we're going to release that. We're going to release the archons from their darkness, and then they're going to reunite back with the light. And then that's what's going to bring balance to the cosmos. And the Phantom Matrix will be no more. That's going to be dissolved.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. Wow. Okay. All right. So talking on a silica, I guess what we're dealing with at the moment, you had mentioned, and that, I guess, is it a dimension or an alternate Earth reality? There's that silicone. Now, I've also heard you talk about, as we're ascending into various other dimensional spaces, we're going to be becoming more crystalline. So right now we are in what we would call a carbon-based house. And then as we move into our higher selves, I guess, we're going to be, the carbon structure will change and become more crystalline. What's that going to look like?
It's going to be we're going to be multidimensional again. So it appears that as we enter the fifth dimension, and we start using our crystalline DNA, we're no longer going to be trapped in matter anymore. We're going to be free to explore other dimensions and other realms. In other words, we're going to be, just as stated in quantum physics, we're going to be both light and particle at the same time. Particle meaning we're still going to have physical form, but we're going to have the ability to dematerialize our physical form into pure energy and travel, and then rematerialize our physical form wherever we want to go. So that's where teleportation comes in, telepathy and other telekinesis and other powers is in the fifth dimension, but only if we do it organically through the activation of crystalline DNA. So there's other levels beyond crystalline DNA that we are also going to be experiencing as we continue our ascension beyond the fifth and sixth dimension. Beyond the fifth and sixth dimension, when we go into the seventh, eighth, and ninth, we're going to be using etheric matter. And then as we go into higher levels of reality, 10, 11, and 12, we start using what is known as hydroplasma DNA. We become plasmic beings, and we're able to materialize any form we want. And then beyond that, we become pure light beings. Okay, so the difference between us and the silicon machineries is that the silicon machineries don't have the ability to become pure light beings. And that's when we enter the realms of eternity. So one of the issues that we had with this AI menace is that it assimilated all reality all the way to the 11th dimension before they were blocked off by the central race of the always existing realms of the mother universe. They couldn't access the eternal realms because they don't have what is known as the God genetic, which is the ability to go into, to become pure light. And they don't have that because they lost their connection to source because they're machines. So what they're trying to do is they infiltrate our world, and this is where it ties into the transhumanist agenda. They want to use our genetics. They want to use a hybrid between them and us so that they could use our genetics, our God source gene, to access the realms of eternity. But that's not going to happen. We're going to eliminate them before they get a chance to do that. So that's the difference between carbon-based beings, carbon-based organic life forms, and silicon-based, is that silicon-based do not have the ability to keep ascending and evolving into hydroplasmic DNA, etheric matter, and then pure light body or pure light energy source. We have that ability. They don't. The silicon-based beings, they could evolve, but it's in a non-spiritual way, though. They do have physical form, but at the same time, as they continue to assimilate our reality, they create an artificial version of what hydroplasmic DNA is, but it's not the real one. But it's a mimicking of it, just like how they mimic everything within our genetics to create computers and AIs. They also do it on a cosmic level of reality where they try to mimic what hydroplasmic genetics is, which is us using 48 strands of DNA. But it's not the same. It's different. The difference is that the silicon-based DNA, right, or the cybernetic intelligences, which is AI, they will never have access to eternity because they don't have a soul. In order to have access to eternity, you have to have a soul. Because what is a soul? A soul is a fragmented or a holographic expression of what? Of God, which is pure soul. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, good. Okay. I'm trying to let that sink in. So will we still be like, I guess depending on what dimension you may be going to, because I guess you could go to many based on whatever your soul signature would be, maybe.
Mhm.
Would we still be able to like be physical with another person, or would we be just light in the high
Um,
dimensions?
Both. We're gonna just like a photon is both, or a particle could be both light part and physical at the same time, right? When it's a particle, it's physical. When it's not being observed, it's part of the wave. It's part of the unified wave. That's how we're going to be. As we go beyond the fifth dimension, we're going to be both particle and light. I mean, we are right now, but right now, because of our because we're really steeped into the lowest dimension using only carbon-based DNA. It seems like we're trapped in matter. But as we raise our frequency and our vibration, we unlock the crystalline and eventually, etheric matter or etheric DNA. And then that's when we're able to really shift from particle form, physical, to unified, where we are one with the wave, one with everything. So you're still going to be able to be physical when you want. You could just materialize the physical form and enjoy, the fruits of being physical, the pleasures of life. But at the same time, you're going to be able to go back into pure energy. Yeah. So you're going to be able to experience whatever you want.
Wow. Well, that sounds very exciting. Very
Mhm.
exciting. Okay, so where we are right now, and as I had mentioned, I never watched mainstream media, but the CNN came into my awareness yesterday regarding these guys speaking on the dangers again of how advanced the AI is becoming, and it seemed to me that they were quite scared. They realize what's going, what we're dealing with. So on the other end of that, I do believe that we're also accelerating on the organic timeline matrix.
Mhm.
And wondering, what can we do uh, about activating our DNA further? And you had mentioned keeping in a high vibration, right? So for the viewers, what are some ways that we do that? How do we, you know, stay in this consistent higher vibrational frequency?
It's very simple. Go inward, meditation, first and foremost. Watch what you eat. Stay away from fast food, stay away from genetically modified food. Only eat superfoods, organic foods. Drink a lot of water. Um, be balanced in life. Mind, body, spirit, and most importantly, be in control of what you rent in your head. What space you allow information to come to your head. Stay away from all the negative information. So if you are only focused on the positive, that's what you're going to be creating. That's where you're going to be shifting. Okay, because the bifurcation is coming. And the bifurcation is going to come right when the AI seizes control of the earth, what they call a one world government. And when that happens, the solar flash, which is a different aspect of the Christ energies coming in from the galactic core, is going to nuke that in the positive earth, ascending earth reality. And instead of having negative technologies like that, we're not going to have any of that. People are going to be shifting into a world where everything is back to normal, back to the organic way of life. So as long as you stay positive, you will be shifting into the new earth when this bifurcation of timelines takes place.
Well, I love that. I have felt it since I've been a child. So, I mean, I can't question it. For me, this all feels very real. And your book, again, for the viewers, Our Cosmic Origin, is available on Amazon. I'm in Canada, but I was able to find the link as well. So the new link is on the Canadian one. Initially, it wasn't. So for anybody in Canada, but I highly recommend you guys get this book. It is just, it's new level disclosure, right? Like, I mean, it's just, you've never heard this stuff and it's pretty amazing. Yeah, so I guess I'm holding the vision with you that we're moving into this really amazing new space, and I'm very excited. And when we talk about the metahuman, what I've understood about that is that, we have the ability to be telepathic and to do all of these incredible things that right now it's hard to even understand. But I definitely have felt that these things are coming on board a little stronger, and these abilities are kind of starting to, really manifest in our current, time space reality, which is really exciting. So I think, my mind is blown, so I need to like let this all sink in. But is there anything else that you wanted to say? I know that you're teaching a star seed course. Would you like to tell everyone about how they can get involved with that?
Sure. Um, so I'm going to actually be teaching two classes, Starseed Cosmology, which explores galactic cosmic history, different star races, dimensions, chakras, and much more. The prophecy of 144,000. We talk about a lot of stuff. It's like 20 years of research condensed into 6 hours. I'm also going to be teaching Starseed Astrology, where we use your natal chart, your date of birth, to pretty much tell you exactly what star system you're from. So I'm going to be teaching two courses now. And since you're going to be uploading this on the 13th, right?
It'll be 5/12 at 12/12.
Yeah, on the 12th. Okay, so what I'm going to do in the next 2 days is I'm going to send you the links to my new courses that start in June. And then, of course, I will send you the link to the new edition of our Cosmic Origin. So that way you get the new edition with an added chapter that reveals what happens after the Ascension. And, that way you don't get the old edition. I'll give you the link that goes directly to the new edition. And then, I'm also going to be in Anaheim, California, on the 13th, this Saturday. I'm going to be doing a book signing and lecture at the Bodhi Studio, and that is spelled BOTI. And in Anaheim, California, Orange County. I'm going to be there from 2 to 6, but you have to call and reserve your seat because seat is limited. I'm going to be there, from 2 to 6. For those that live in California or Orange County or LA County, come see me this Saturday on the 13th at the Bodhi, BOTI, Bodhi Studio. I will be there.
Exciting. I know you're very busy. You've been doing quite a bit of traveling and chatting with people, boots on ground. So that's kind of exciting. Yeah.
Yes, very blessed. I'm actually finally living my life's purpose.
Good. Yeah, well, on that, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on Raise the Vibe initiative. I would really like an opportunity to maybe check in again with you in a little while and just get an update if I know you're busy, but I can book you in advance, hopefully.
Sure, it's possible.
Good, good. All right. Well, I hope that blew everybody's mind as much as it did mine. Very exciting, and it's just been such a pleasure to meet you. So
Like,
much love and grace to you in your journey.
thank you. Likewise, appreciate that.
Yeah, take care.